What's up everyone? Today, I want to see how budget headphones compare to the Sony XM5. So the budget headphones that I picked out today are the JBL 720BT, the Sony WH 720N, and the Beats Studio 3. How do these budget headphones compare to the successful Sony XM5? And is it worth getting this over these? Or can you save a lot of money by just getting these budget headphones? Let's find out. So before we get started, let's establish a baseline sound test using my favorite track right now, Dirty Nice, Another Life. Starting with the Sony XM5, it has decent bass, sound is full, and it feels close to a live performance. The bass could be a little bit higher, but overall, it's excellent. The budget headphones really have big shoes to fill. With ANC on, sound quality doesn't even drop. It actually makes the music more immersive. The Sony WH-720N has bass that hits a bit harder than the XM5, but the sound isn't as full. It doesn't have that live performance presence. The mid-range is decent for budget headphones, though trebles could sound muffled even when using the same equalizer as the XM5. Using the same preset equalizer on both Sony makes them sound drastically different, and I don't know why. The way around this is custom equalizer settings, because they yield a closer match if you play with it just right. ANC adds a slight digital sheen to the sound, but it's not constant. It's noticeable, but only on some notes. Next, we have the JBL Tune 720BT. This has a very flat and not vibrant sound. Feels like a budget headphones. Bass is adequate, but it's nothing special. At the end of the day, you know you're wearing a cheap headphone. The Beats Studio 3. This one sits between the JBL and the CH720N. It lacks fullness and has weak bass, but it's slightly better than the JBL, but still underwhelming for the price. So number 4, we have the JBL Tune 720BT. Number 3, the Beats Studio 3. Number 2, the CH720N, which leaves the Sony XM5 taking this round for sound quality. Alright, next, active noise cancellation, also known as ANC. The Sony XM5 is the king of noise cancellation, hands down. It eliminates almost every hum and background noise. The Sony CH720N performs closely behind the XM5. The only real difference is faint hums still make it through. The JBL Tune 720BT has no ANC, but solid passive isolation. This is achieved by squeezing your head tight. So it's great for blocking noise, yeah, but terrible for comfort. The Beats Studio 3 has ANC, but it's the weakest I've tested. Slightly better than the JBL's no ANC, but not by much. With wind, the mics actually pick up the wind noise, and turning ANC on or off barely changes the experience. I mean, it sounds exactly the same. It's one of those things where you got the headphone on your head and you're turning it on and you're like, and then you're turning it off and then you're like, you're trying really hard to hear a difference. So number 4, we have the Beats Studio 3. Number 3, the JBL Tune 720BT. Number 2, the CH720N, which leaves the Sony XM5 taking this round for ANC. Next, let's look at controls and buttons. Okay, so the Beats Studio 3 has the worst controls setup. I hate it. It has 4 buttons that do everything. The power doubles as the ANC toggle. Very bad design overall. I've accidentally turned off the headphones when I meant to toggle ANC more times than I can count. The other 3 buttons handle calls, volume, and tracks. The center button, terrible. It's not even tactile. You'll press it and nothing happens. Press it again and it'll double trigger. It could be my headphones because my Beats are very old, so maybe the button is worn out, but I don't see how because I don't really use it. Next, we have the JBL Tune 720BT. This one has slightly better controls, but also 4 buttons, but no ANC to worry about. The buttons are also labeled and have tactile indicators, and are placed close together so you can find them easily by just touch. The Sony CH720N has the best physical controls. You got 5 buttons total, volume, tracks, phone calls, and a dedicated ANC button. Let me say that again, a dedicated ANC button. Volume up and down are clearly marked with the select call button between them. On the other air cup is a dedicated power button. All buttons are tactile and easy to identify without taking off your headphones. That's something that's a must with headphones these days. The Sony XM5, best touch control hybrid. You got 2 real buttons, power and ANC. Everything else is touch based. You double tap to play pause, you swipe up and down for volume control, you swipe back and forth to skip or go back a track, hold the cuff to mute music and disable ANC for a conversation. I mean, these gestures are just intuitive and natural, and I think Sony nailed this hybrid approach. So in 4th place, we have the Beats Studio 3. 3rd place is JBL Tune 720BT. 2nd is the CH720N, which leaves the Sony XM5 taking this round for controls. All right, chugging right along, we got build quality. So listen, there's no secret. All 4 are plastic, but not all plastics are equal. So the Beats Studio 3, which is silver here, looks the most premium, even with aftermarket white pads. Yeah, these aren't the original pads. These are aftermarket. The Sony XM5 and CH720N premium at all. The JBL Tune 720BT has a cheap matte plastic that will quickly become shiny in high contact areas, just like a worn out keyboard. So this headphone is not going to look pretty in a couple of months. So in 4th place, we have the JBL Tune 720BT. In 3rd place, we have the CH720N. In 2nd place, we have the Sony XM5, which leaves the Beats Studio 3 taking this round for build. All right, portability. So the JBL Tune 720BT is the most portable. It swivels and folds into itself for travel. The Sony CH720N and XM5 are different on the other hand. They fold flat but not inward. The CH720N is shorter and it fits better in smaller bags, while the XM5 is taller and usually needs its own pouch. I mean, you don't have to put it in its own pouch, but do you really want something to happen to your expensive premium headphone? I think not. The Beats Studio 3, it folds but doesn't swivel flat. I think it can break if crammed into the backpack, but that's just my opinion. I can't really comment on this because I never really traveled with the Beats. I didn't really use them a lot. But if you had the Beats Studio 3 and they've broken in a bag of yours while traveling, let us know in the comment section below. Next, we have Bluetooth range. So let's start with the indoor test. In a 3,600 square foot house, I put the phone in one corner downstairs of the house, and I walked the entire perimeter of the house with all the headphones to get them to drop connection. So both Sonys had 0 drops across the entire house. Really good results. The JBL had around 5 drops, but it connects relatively quickly. The Beats had over 15 drops, but it still maintained a connection. So after these results, I was like, you know what? I got to kick it up a notch. Let me stress test this. So what I did was I left the phone inside and I walked outside the perimeter of the house to see if I can break the connection. The JBL had a brief 3-second dropout, but then it became stable. The CH720N skipped every other second until halfway around the house. Then it finally stabilized. The XM5 had frequent drops until I was about 75% around the house. And the Beats, they lost connection as soon as I walked out the door. And they didn't connect back to my phone until I walked back in the house. Now, before I give you the rankings, let me just say that both Sonys have a secret setting inside their app where you can actually prioritize a stable connection at the cost of sound quality. I did not turn that on because, one of the good things about these two headphones is that they have really good sound quality, and I wanted to keep it like that because I think most people are going to have that setting checked for sound quality prioritized over stable connections. Just wanted to put that out there. So, number 4, we have the Beats Studio 3. Number 3, we have the Sony XM5. Number 2 is the CH720N, which leaves the JBL Tune taking this round for range. All right, fit and stability. So if you're a headbanger, good news. The Beats, JBL, and the CH720N managed to stay firmly in place. The XM5 stays on, but it shifts slightly off the air under motion. Number 4 is the XM5, number 3 is the Beats, number 2 is the JBL, which leaves the Sony CH720N, taking this round for 5th. Mic quality. Alright, so the XM5 had clear, consistent vocals. It was excellent at removing wind noise. There was a slight artificial tone, but very forgivable. And this is the mic quality with the Sony XM5. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to blast myself with air. And these are the Sony XM5 and how they handle wind noise while on phone call. The JBL Tune 720BT had good bass on the vocals, but the mic quality shifts mid-call. And this is the mic quality on the JBL Tune 720BT. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to blast myself with air. And this is how JBL handles wind noise when you're on a phone conversation. The CH720N was consistent and deep, but completely tanks in windy conditions. And this is the mic quality using the Sony CH720N. Now I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to blast myself with air. And this is how the Sony CH720N. And the Beats Studio 3, flat, thin, muffled, wind noise sounds like I'm driving with windows down. So this is the mic quality for the Beats Studio. Now I'm going to blast myself with some air and talk and see how it eliminates the wind noise. Alright, so with wind blasting right over me, this is how it handles wind noise when you're talking on the phone call. So, in 4th place, we have the Beats. In 3rd place, we have the CH720N. In 2nd place, we have the JBL, which leaves the Sony XM5 taking this round for mic. Whew, we covered a lot. Alright, so battery life. The XM5 are rated for 30 hours of battery life with ANC on and 40 hours with it off. The CH720N is rated at 35 hours with ANC on and 50 hours with it off. The JBL Tune 720BT is rated at, get this, 76 hours total, plus 5 minutes charge will yield you 3 hours playback. Ridiculous. And the Beats Studio 3 is rated at 22 hours with ANC on, 40 hours with it off, and a 10-minute charge will give you 3 hours of playback. But let me tell you something. Sometimes this thing would just die while powered off and doing nothing. So I would take its battery rating with a grain of salt. So if we were to rate it, Beats coming at 4th place. 3rd place is the Sony XM5. 2nd place is the CH720N, which leaves the JBLs taking this round for battery life. Let's talk about people that wear glasses. How is the comfort level with these headphones for glasses wearers? The XM5 is comfortable, but the outer rim presses against your glasses after long use. The JBL has the tightest clamp out of all 4 headphones, which causes ear and temple pain. And the Beats are slightly looser than the JBL, but still uncomfortable. The CH720N is all foam with no outer rim pressing on temple tips. The JBL coming at 4th, the Beats coming at 3rd, the Sony XM5 coming at 2nd, which leaves the Sony CH720N taking this round for people that wear glasses. Price and value. Let's talk about those dollars. Alright, so the XM5 is the most expensive headphone out of the 4. It comes in at $389, even though it's a couple of years old. The CH720N comes in at $148. The Beats Studio 3 come in at $113, although they don't make it brand new anymore, so you have to pick it up refurbished. And the JBL Tune 720BT comes in at only $70. The XM5s come in at 4th, the Beats come in at 3rd, the JBLs come in 2nd, which leaves the Sony CH720N taking this round for value. Okay, so before I give you the winner, there are some things I have to mention. So the XM5 has way more features that we didn't even touch in this review. So I'm just going to put it up on the screen so you can see all the features for yourself. All right, so I created a weighted point system for all 4 headphones, and I'll put that graph on the screen so you can see it for yourself. So if you want the best of the best, get the Sony XM5. It's the smartest, most feature-packed, and sounds phenomenal. If you want 90% of that experience for less than half the price, the Sony CH720N is your best choice, and the overall Monster Roars champion. If you just want insane battery life, go for the JBL Tune 720BT. And if you're after style over substance, the Beat Studio 3 still look great. But that's where it ends. So there you have it. The monster review verdict is in. The Sony CH720N walks away with the crown, earning 88 Monster Roars. And don't forget to drop your pick in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more brutally honest, data-backed reviews. Until next time, stay loud, stay bold, and keep it monster.